my name is Mindy Bowman, and I'm going to be doing my informative speech on EMS First Responders Initial Rapid Assessment. This is 911. What seems to be the problem today?
There's been an accident and there's blood everywhere. Please come help now.
Medic 5, please respond. Medic 5's en route. EMS and first responders have to rush to the scenes of accidents and have a layout of what needs to be done from the time they get on scene to the time they arrive at the hospital. By doing these assessments, it helps the patient live or die. I'm going to inform you on the assessment of EMS first responders. So let's get started. The Essentials to Paramedic Care book explains the primary assessment, which is the first assessment EMS and first responders have. So during the primary assessment, when you arrive on scene, you get a first impression. You introduce yourself to the patient and assess the patient's mental status. This will help you see if they have a brain injury. Second is the ABCs, which is part of the primary assessment. The ABCs include airway, which you see if the patient has an obstruction in their mouth or their throat area. And the B, which is breathing, you want to see if the patient's breathing. So you just put your hand on their chest and see if you see their chest equal rise and fall. And the third is circulation. You want to check to see if the patient has circulation in their throat or in their carotid or their wrist. The third and the fourth in the primary assessment is manual stabilization. Someone's going to be holding their head stable so they don't move their neck or their back area. And you're going to be checking their neck and their back to see if there's any deformities or if it's out of place. After you check that, they're going to be placed on a backboard and placed into the ambulance. Because we don't have x-rays, this is why we hold manual stabilization and put them on the backboard. The second assessment is information that I received from a magazine on EMS magazine, and the author's name was Whitehead. During the second assessment, this is your rapid assessment, you're going to be doing a head-to-toe assessment of the patient. You are going to have a firm grip from their head to their toe, just checking to make sure to see if there's any deformities. If you see any deformities or feel any deformities, you're going to make note of it and give it to the doctor at the hospital. And the third and final is the ongoing assessment. During the ongoing assessment, this is when the patient is on the ambulance and you are going to the hospital. You are going to be using your radio to call the hospital and inform them on your patient's condition while en route to the hospital. And also when you're on the ambulance, you're going to be asking the patient questions to see if your treatments are helping the patient or making them worse. And if it is making them feel worse, you're going to try to change your assessments en route to help the patient feel better. Then when you arrive at the hospital, the EMS first responder is going to be giving an oral report to the doctor or the nurse at the hospital. So these are just a few of the assessments that EMS first responders have while assessing patients that have been in accidents. Your primary, your secondary, and your ongoing. These are all very important when involving a patient that has been injured. EMS responders are able to keep patients stable from the time that they get on scene to the time they get to the hospital. Dispatch, this is Ambulance 5. We've arrived at the patient's at the hospital and the patient is stable at this time. I hope you have enjoyed this video and it can open all your minds to EMS first responders jobs.